It starts with the sound of tires crunching gravel. Again. I'm standing at the edge of my porch, boots muddy from fixing the fence line, when I see it. A shiny white Lexus pulling up way too close to the barn. It's not supposed to be here. My land, my rules. But some people don't seem to get that. I'm Elijah Brooks. 38. Fourth-generation black farmer in Greenville County, South Carolina. This land's been in my family since emancipation, passed down like a promise. 200 acres of sweat, prayers, and back-breaking labor. We don't have a fancy sign or a gift shop, just cows, crops, and peace. Or at least we did have peace. Until the Millers moved in. Brand new suburban development went up right across the old tree line 6 months ago. Whispering Pines, they call it. Cookie-cutter homes, imported turf lawns, and people who think land is decoration. Mostly white folks from the city trying to escape the noise, but bringing their own kind of noise with them. Passive-aggressive HOA emails. Lawn mowers roaring at 7 a.m. And now, trespassing. At first it was little things. Someone clipped my fence trying to shortcut to the hiking trail. A dog chasing my chickens. Trash dumped near the pond. But I let it slide. Thought maybe they just didn't know. Or didn't mean to. Then came her. The Lexus belongs to Karen Miller. Blonde. Smiling. Reeks of entitlement masked as friendliness. She waved the first time I caught her parking on my land. Said she just needed space to turn around, that there weren't enough guest spots near her place. I told her nicely but firmly this is private property. She nodded like she understood. But then it happened again. And again. And each time she stayed a little longer. Last Tuesday she left her car parked by the barn for over an hour. My cousin Jamil nearly backed a tractor into it. I asked her, why my land? There's a whole damn street. She smiled, tilting her sunglasses down. Well, you're not using that space, are you? The way she said you made my stomach tighten. Like I didn't deserve to own this place. Like I was just some help who didn't know how to say no. I didn't argue. Not yet. See, in places like this, when you're the only black farmer left between a sea of newcomers with HOA committees and golf carts, you learn to pick your battles. But you also learn when a storm's coming. And I can feel it. Thick in the air. The way my grandma used to say her bones ached before the rain. Karen Miller may think she's just parking a car. But she's about to learn you don't walk onto sacred ground without asking. And you sure don't disrespect a man who knows every inch of his land like it's stitched into his soul. Because when it comes to this farm, I don't let anyone claim what isn't theirs. It's Saturday morning just past 8 when I find tire tracks. Again. Fresh ones, deep in the mud behind my barn. The dew hasn't even burned off yet, and there they are weaving through my field like scars. Rained last night. No one should have been out here. No reason unless they were trespassing. I squat low, run a calloused hand over the grooves. Same tread pattern. Wide, smooth, too clean to be from one of my old trucks. Sir. But this time I spot something new, half buried in the dirt. A wine cork. Ain't no wine drinkers on this farm. My gut twist. She wasn't just parking. He was partying. I checked the camera mounted near the chicken coop. Glitchy. Motion sensor never triggered. Cheap off-brand thing I picked up on sale. Good for possums. Useless for Karens. I glance across the pasture toward the new development. Her house sits like a crown on a hill, all beige siding and faux stone accents. From here I can see her backyard. The sleek patio furniture, string lights hanging above a pergola, a perfect suburban kingdom. She's on the porch now, wineglass in hand at barely 9 a.m., wearing yoga pants like armor and a cardigan that matches her smug little smile. She sees me. Doesn't wave this time. Just sips slow. Like she's daring me. There's a shift in the air. Not loud, not sudden, but it's there. That smile isn't clueless anymore. It's mocking. Later that day, Jamil drops by to help replace some fencing. He's only 25, big as a linebacker and just as stubborn. You hear about them trying to expand the HOA boundary? He asks, tossing a roll of chicken wire into the bed of my truck. I blink. Out here. He nods. Talked to an old classmate on their board. Says they want consistency. Want your tree line gone. Said it blocks the view. My jaw clenches. That's not just shade. That's my family's boundary line. That oak tree's older than the whole damn neighborhood. You think this is about the parking? Jamil asks. I don't answer right away. Because it feels like something more. Karen didn't just need a spot for her car. She wanted access. Control. She was testing the limits, where my silence ends and her privilege begins. And the way she looks at me? Like this land is wasted on someone like me. That same look I've seen in courthouse lobbies, in bank offices, at farm co-ops when I walk in with my overalls and dark skin. Polite on the surface. Rotten underneath. She's not just being a bad neighbor. She's claiming space. And in her mind I'm supposed to move aside. But this isn't just land. This is legacy. And I'm starting to think Karen Miller doesn't want to share a fence. She wants to erase it. I wait until Sunday afternoon, when the air's thick and still and the flies are lazy from heat. I walk up to her house, boots still crusted with soil, a clipboard in one hand and resolve in the other. Karen opens the door like she's expecting a package, not a reckoning. "Elijah," she sings, smiling like this is a social call. "Everything all right?" "No," I say flat. "We need to talk." Her face barely twitches, but her grip tightens on the edge of the door. "You've been using my land to park your car. I've asked you nicely and I've let a lot slide. But it's got to stop. You're trespassing, Karen." She frowns like I'm the one being unreasonable. "Oh, come on. It's just a little space. You've got so much of it. I didn't think you'd mind." "I do mind," I cut in. "This isn't a park. It's a working farm. My cousin almost wrecked his tractor avoiding your Lexus. You could have been injured. Or worse." She scoffs. "Well, maybe if your cousin had been paying attention." You don't get to flip this around." Pause. Her smile thins. The mask slips. "You know," she says slowly, "we've been discussing some zoning changes at the HOA. There's been concerns about safety. Property values. A few people brought up your barn, said it's an eyesore from the hill." I stare at her. "An eyesore? Don't get defensive, Elijah. It's just community feedback." There it is. The shift. The veiled threat dipped in sugar and racism. It's not about parking anymore. It's about control. They want to chip away at my presence, frame it like I don't belong. "I've got a copy of the property lines," I say, tapping the clipboard. "And the deed. This land's mine. Been mine for 4 generations. She's got no jurisdiction past the ridge." She laughs softly. "Maybe not yet." I turn and leave before my temper boils over. But I know now, this won't stop with warnings. That night I call in help. My friend Kendra works in real estate law. Black woman, tough as nails. I email her everything. Photos of the tire tracks, video of Karen walking across the field with a glass of rose, the cork in the mud. She replies 2 hours later. She's violating easement laws. "Want me to draft a cease and desist?" "Yes." "And we're just getting started." Jamil installs real trail cams. Night vision, solar-powered, hidden up in the oaks. We catch her 3 more times. Not just parking, bringing guests. Using my land like an extension of her property. One night they even set up a fire pit. On my soil. The final straw comes Tuesday evening. I come home from town, dust rising behind my truck, and find a no trespassing sign. But it's not mine. It's Karen's. Nailed into a post she jammed just beyond the fence line. Her little white plastic sign flutters in the breeze like a slap in the face. I storm over, yank it out of the ground, and knock on her door. She opens like she's bored already. "Something wrong. You're putting up signs now? On my land." "It's for safety," she says, cool and unbothered. "You've got rusted equipment and we don't want our kids getting hurt." I was just being proactive. I hold up her sign. "This is illegal. You don't touch my property." "Well," she says, crossing her arms, "we'll let the HOA sort it out. They don't own this land. They will." She says it like a promise. And then slams the door. Jamil calls me that night. "You saw the Facebook group?" "No." "What now?" "She's posting pictures of your place. Talking about how it's a hazard to the community. And how some people don't maintain their properties properly." I open the app. There it is. Photos of my rusted plow, my old tractor. Cropped to look worse. Dozens of comments. All polite. All coded. It's a shame, really. We moved here for peace and safety. Maybe it's time for some modern updates. And not one person calls it what it is. An attempt to erase the last black-owned land on the block. They want me gone. But I wasn't raised to run. It's time to fight back with facts, footage, and fire. Saturday morning comes hot and heavy, the air pressing down like judgment. I put on my best denim shirt, the one with pearl snaps and my granddad's initials stitched on the inside cuff. Today's not just about boundaries. It's about making sure no one forgets who this land belongs to. I head to the HOA meeting. They're holding it at the Whispering Pines Clubhouse, a sterile beige building that smells like laminate floors and lemon cleaner. I walk in and head swivel. The room falls quiet. I'm the only black face in a sea of pastels, polo shirts and pearl earrings. Karen's at the front, standing beside a flip chart like she's running for office. She spots me and doesn't miss a beat. "Ah, Elijah. Glad you could make it. We're just getting started." Her voice is syrupy sweet, but her eyes are cold. She wanted me here for a show. For her little power play. As I was saying, she continues, addressing the seated crowd, we've had ongoing concerns about safety, property value, and unregulated land usage bordering the Whispering Pines community. Specifically, she turns and clicks a remote. A photo pops up on the screen. My barn. My tractor. My field. Some of our newer neighbors have expressed concern over this adjacent property. It's been unmanaged. Not aesthetically in line with community values. Murmurs ripple through the room. She clicks again. Another photo. This one from the night she threw a bonfire on my land. Only now she's spun the caption. Unknown individuals seen trespassing, dangerous and unauthorized. She's flipped the script. I've spoken with county zoning, she says confidently, and we're exploring the possibility of expanding the HOA's jurisdiction slightly, just enough to allow us to regulate the immediate surroundings and protect our neighborhood. Polite applause. Nod after nod. And then she looks right at me. I'm sure Elijah won't mind. He's been very understanding so far. That's her play. Public pressure. Gaslight me in front of the whole neighborhood. Make it seem like she's doing me a favor. I walk to the front. Y'all done? Karen blinks, surprised I'm speaking. I've listened. Now it's your turn. I reach into my folder and pull out the deed. I hold it up. This land's been in my family since 1892. My great-grandfather farmed it. My grandfather buried his hands in this soil. My father died working it. And no HOA, no zoning conversation, no backhanded Facebook post is going to change that. A few people shift uncomfortably. Karen forces a smile. Elijah, no one's trying to take your land. We're just trying to ensure community safety. I raise my hand. I'm not done. I hold up stills from the trail cam footage. Karen in her Lululemon stepping out of her Lexus. Her lighting a bonfire. Her guests drinking on my property. Gasps fill the room. These were taken after I told her not to step foot on my land again. She wasn't just parking. She was hosting. Trespassing. Endangering herself and others. Karen's mouth opens but no sound comes out. And before anyone doubts it, I continue, holding up my phone. I've got a live security feed and timestamps. And I've filed a complaint with the sheriff's department. Want to know what else? My lawyer has copies. And the county's already confirmed, your HOA has zero authority beyond the ridge. Dead silence. Karen steps forward, eyes blazing. You're twisting this. I was just using a bit of land you weren't even using. I was trying to help bring some order to this community. I stare her down. You didn't want order. You wanted ownership. You looked at me and saw someone who should be grateful for your help. But let me be real clear. I lower my voice. I own that land. I work that land. And if you or anyone from this HOA steps 1 foot past that line again, I will press charges. Karen tries to rally, looking to the crowd. But no one's backing her now. A few look away. One woman whispers something to her husband. Another man clears his throat and says, well, maybe we overstepped. Karen's composure cracks. I was just trying to protect the neighborhood, she mutters. No, I say. You were trying to erase what made you uncomfortable. I turn, letting the weight of that settle over the room. No more smiles. No more gaslighting. Just truth. And for once it lands. Karen doesn't speak for a long second. Her lips are trembling, barely holding that signature smile together. She's staring at the still images I laid out like they're fake. Like maybe if she denies them hard enough, the room will believe her. This is completely out of context, she finally blurts. You can't seriously think I'm the only one. Others have parked there too. Someone coughs in the audience. A few eyes go wide. She wasn't supposed to say that part out loud. I step back, voice low and calm. Funny you mention that. Because I reviewed the footage from the last few weeks. Night vision cams. They caught every single visitor. Every license plate. And every single one of them was attending your little off-the-books wine bonfires. I hold up a flash drive. And I've already sent copies to the sheriff's department. Want me to name names? A man in the back, the HOA treasurer, lowers his head and quietly gathers his things. Karen's eyes dart around the room, desperate now. He's lying. This is intimidation. You all know me. I've always been the one looking out for our community. And they'll remember, I say, how you weaponized community safety to harass the one black farmer within 2 miles of here. You called my barn an eyesore. You tried to expand an HOA into land your association doesn't even own. You put up your signs on my property and then acted like you were the victim. I was trying to prevent a lawsuit, she snaps. You're about to get one. And that's when Kendra walks in. Dressed sharp in navy slacks and a crisp white blouse, she moves like a thunderstorm in heels. She nods at me, then steps forward, setting her briefcase on the table without a word of introduction. I'm Kendra Wallace, legal representative for Mr. Elijah Reed. I have here copies of 2 cease and desist letters sent to Mrs. Karen Miller, both ignored, as well as documentation of repeated trespassing violations, including photographic and video evidence. We've already filed a formal complaint with the sheriff's office and are prepared to proceed with civil action for harassment, property damage, and defamation. Karen's face drains of color. Wait, civil action? Kendra nods, flipping open the folder. You've repeatedly trespassed. You've slandered Mr. Reed online and within HOA meetings. You've also attempted to leverage false zoning claims, which the county has already confirmed hold no merit. The room shifts. People who once clapped for her are inching away. No one wants to be on the wrong side now. Karen steps back, her voice desperate. I didn't mean any harm. This is all just a misunderstanding. We're neighbors, for God's sake. You're making this way bigger than it needs to be. You made it big, I say. When you brought your entitlement across my fence line. When you tried to turn my family's land into your overflow parking. Then comes the final blow. Kendra pulls out a letter, freshly printed and signed. And just so everyone's aware, she says, holding it up, we've also filed a formal complaint with the state's real estate board. As Mrs. Miller is a licensed agent, her behavior constitutes unethical conduct. She could lose her license. The gasp this time is real. Karen stumbles back like she's been slapped. You wouldn't. Oh, we already did, Kendra replies. Karen's husband appears in the doorway, drawn by the commotion. His eyes widen as he takes in the silence, the stares, the legal papers in his wife's hands. What the hell is going on, Karen? She turns to him, voice shrill now. I was just trying to help the community. Elijah's making me look like a villain. You made yourself look like one, I say, quiet but firm. I just turned the lights on. She tries to storm out, but a deputy, one I called earlier, steps into her path. Mrs. Miller? I'd like to have a word with you. We've received several complaints regarding trespassing and unauthorized use of private property. You're not under arrest, but I do need you to come with me. Karen's mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Her husband's face is frozen in a mix of confusion and shame. She glances back at the crowd, but there's no sympathy in their eyes. Only discomfort. Maybe some guilt. And just like that, her kingdom crumbles. She's escorted out, shaking, hair frizzed with humidity, her composure gone. I stand there, not gloating, just steady. Watching. For the first time since all this started, the room sees me. Not just as the farmer down the hill, but as someone who stood his ground and won. Justice doesn't always come easy. But when it does, it's loud. It's public. And it sticks. 2 weeks later, I drive past Karen's house and the for sale sign is already up. The grass is overgrown. The porch lights are off. And her signature seasonal wreath, the one she changed for every holiday, is gone. Just a dull hook remains, swinging in the wind like an afterthought. The neighborhood's quieter now. Not in a cold way, but in that cleansed kind of quiet, like the air after a storm. Karen lost her real estate license. The state board acted fast after Kendra filed the complaint. The combination of HOA abuse, trespassing, and racial targeting was too much to overlook. The footage didn't lie. The sheriff's department opened an investigation into property damage and illegal gatherings on private land. Charges are pending. But the real sentence? Public shame. Her reputation in Whispering Pines disintegrated overnight. The same folks who sipped wine on my property under her leadership now look away when her name's mentioned. Turns out no one wants to admit they played along. Cowards. So some neighbors changed. Marta, the nurse who always waved but never spoke, she brought over a pie last week. Said her kids asked why no one ever stood up for the farmer. She didn't have a good answer. "I'm sorry," she said quietly, handing me the tin-foil-wrapped dish. "I should have done more." Then there's Jim, the retired vet down the hill. He started parking his truck at the edge of my property. Not on it, just near it, to deter anyone else from trying what Karen did. His way of saying, "I got your back." Even the HOA changed leadership. Karen's position? Vacant. No one's exactly racing to fill her shoes. Funny how fast things shift when the truth's no longer buried under charm and control. I'm not naive. One woman's downfall doesn't change the entire system. But it's a start. And for the first time in a long time I feel peace. The land's mine again. Untouched. Unbothered. I work it with my hands the way my father taught me, like every furrow remembers the ones who came before. I rebuilt the front gate. Stronger now. Cameras wired to solar panels. A hand-painted sign beside it reads, "Private property. You may see fields, but I see family." Some days I just sit by the porch at dusk, coffee in hand, and listen. To the crickets. To the wind through the cottonwoods. To the silence that finally means freedom. I remember standing in that HOA meeting, heart pounding like a war drum, and thinking, what if they don't believe me? What if they twist it all again? But I didn't flinch. I stood in my truth. And it roared louder than any of her lies. There's a kind of power in knowing you didn't just survive injustice. You dismantled it in broad daylight. And that power, it stays. Because next time someone like Karen thinks they can trespass over your boundaries, over your history, over your worth, they'll think twice. They'll remember what happened to the last one who tried. And they'll know. This land speaks. And when it does, it wins.